So if you're just joining us, we are here with USA Archery. We're here at the 2020 Easton Foundations Gator Cup. It's the last stop on the USAC qualifier series this year. I'm Mackenzie Brown here with Paige Pierce, and we're here to comment on the gold medal matches. We're about to be joined with the Recurve men for the gold medal match. We have Jack Williams and Joonsuh coming in for their gold medal match.
So I think this is going to be a pretty exciting match. At this point, I feel like most people on the recurve side of things would know Jack, and Joonsuh has had a really strong season, correct?
Yep. So Joonsuh is one of the up-and-coming archers for recurve men for sure. He's been kind of slowly coming up on the scene, and this year's been one of his kind of outstanding years, actually getting into some of these medal matches. He's only 18 and from Virginia. He did come out to the training center where I train full-time for about a month to kind of see what RA life is like.
Okay.
And potentially get onto the RA team.
Gotcha.
If we do have spaces there when things come around for this next year.
Good. So he took or won silver at the U.S. Open this year. Now looking at Jack Williams this year, Jack was able to win Buckeye and bronze at U.S. Open. So both of these archers have had a solid season. I think they're going to have a pretty good match today.
Yep.
Now Jack does currently live at the training center in Chula Vista, correct?
Yep. He's what we call an off-site resident, so he has his own apartment that's nearby, and he comes and trains as an RA at the training center.
I would definitely say, looking at the two athletes and from what I know, that Jack definitely has a little bit more experience here from what I would say. He's currently ranked number 11th in the world. He was 9th last year in the world. He's been to World Cups, World Championships, from my knowledge, so he has probably been in this situation a little bit more, which could give him a slight advantage, but anything can happen in a finals match like this.
Yeah, I've learned over the years that I've been competing to never underestimate anybody who you go up against, especially on set system.
Yep.
Whenever it comes down to it, you can the thing that kind of sucks about set system sometimes is that you can lose a match with a better score.
Yep. That's a very tough thing to swallow.
Yeah, your winning sets can be...
A good, strong shot from Jack right there to start off.
Your winning sets can be a higher score and just offset so you have a higher score. So that's sometimes frustrating, but it's the name of the game.
Definitely. So it looks like they're both starting off pretty solid. Jack opened with a 10.
It looks like
9. So Jack is currently leading.
So from what I can see, we've got a slight headwind from right to left, and Joonsuh is on his first two arrows. Looks like he was aiming off a little bit more.
Yep.
And then Jack looked like he was right on, if not
Wow.
right in the middle.
That's a pretty impressive opening set there from Jack Williams. So Jack will definitely take the 2 set points. So walk me through set points. What exactly is this? How does it work? You guys are shooting at 70 meters, which is a pretty far poke, especially with today's windy conditions. So how do these set points work?
Yeah, so we are at 70 meters. In American, that's 77 yards. So it's pretty far distance away. This is our Olympic distance. So we've got set points for our elimination matches, and both archers will shoot 3 arrows. And whoever has the highest score will get 2 set points. If you both have the same score, you get 1 set point each. And then obviously if you have the lower score, you get 0 set points. The first to 6 wins. If you get to a 5-5 tie, you would shoot a 1 arrow shoot off, closest to center. Now the interesting thing about shoot offs is that somewhat recently they added in a rule where for recurve, if both archers shoot a 10, in a shoot-off scenario, then you would reshoot, and then the second arrow would be closest to center.
Yeah, they changed that for compound as well, but ours is an X. So if we hit an X, we then have to reshoot. So,
Yep.
well, that's pretty exciting. I feel like the interesting thing, like you mentioned initially about set points, is that the athlete with the highest cumulative score of the overall match doesn't always win. Now, while as a compounder, that's a hard thing to wrap your mind around. But one nice thing is you can get away with maybe one mistake or something going wrong. And as long as you can shake it off and reset, it will cost you, obviously, probably the 2 set points. But you can come back the next end and have just as good of a chance as the guy standing next to you. So in a way, it is pretty cool. How did you describe it last time? It's basically makes it anybody's game.
Yep. It benefits the comeback kid, I think
Yes,
is how I said
that
it.
was it. That is true.
I think it also depends on your perspective. You know, if you're the one who lost with a higher score, it's a harder pill to swallow. But if you're the one who got away with it, then it's a happier thing to have
And
set points.
I am sure that everyone standing on that field has had it both ways.
Absolutely. So it looks like the wind took Joonsuh a little bit over to the left side of the target. Jack's still right there.
Yeah,
just
off
outside
the
the 10.
10. He's reading the wind very well right now.
What's interesting is that the training center, we have a consistent
9.
left to right wind.
So this is not what you guys are used to shooting in at all.
It's almost exact opposite, and we usually have like a steady stream of wind, not
So
really gusts.
That's a pretty gusty wind right there. Good job.
Same spot.
Yeah, solid group right there.
Yeah.
Now, you will see throughout this match, every once in a while, one of the archers will get caught in, a pretty bad gust of wind. And like we said, with 20 seconds, they just have to get through it. What a great group.
A triple X size group right there. One thing we talked about in the last, in the women's match was just the bow poundage and aiming off and stuff like that. So I think Jack is probably around 48 to 50 pounds. He kind of fluctuates. Wow. He messes with his bow weight quite a bit. He's one of those tinkering minds, so really likes to mess with his equipment and get it to work just right for him. So
that's going to give the men a slight advantage over the women in conditions like this because they have that poundage. They're going to have a faster speed, arrow speed. Yep. Therefore, they're going to drift a little bit less. So like you guessed, if the women were aiming in the 7, would you say maybe these guys are aiming in the 8, in the 9? What are you thinking?
I would wager that Jack is not really aiming off very much. I think that he's probably aiming in the 9 ring.
Okay.
If I was shooting out right now, I'd be aiming in the 9 ring, no more than the 9 ring.
Okay.
I shoot about 46 pounds.
That's a lot for a girl. That's impressive.
Pounds. Yeah, I've been shooting for a while, been getting my strength up.
Now, just to clarify, for those people that may not understand the difference between compound and recurve, compound has let off. So if we're pulling 50 pounds, we're only holding maybe 12 or 15. When it comes to recurve, they're actually holding that full 46, 50 pounds, back at full draw. So it is much more difficult, I would say, to 1, shoot these bows, and 2, obviously hold them back. You will notice that the recurves have a much quicker shot than the compounds, and that's quite frankly, they have to, right? I mean,
I just think it's technique. Whenever, the way I kind of try to explain it to some other people, like the difference between compound and recurve, I think that, it looks
like a little bit longer hold for Jack there too.
It looks like he got caught in a gust a little bit too.
Ooh, so there's a pretty big gust picking up right now.
And X.
That was impressive.
Wow. The difference that I kind of explain is that compound is way heavier on equipment, I think, and your equipment being just spot on in tune. And
good comeback there from Jack, right in that same spot as the group from last end.
Yeah. And just a little bit more dependency on the equipment. Whereas recurve, yeah, you do need to have your, wow, that's an impressive
Yeah,
end.
that was a pretty windy end too. So
And I don't know if you can see his face, but that gave him quite a bit of confidence coming
yes,
off the line.
he was pretty excited there. So either way,
8 on the other side.
I mean, here's another thing that's crazy with set points. Really, Jack already knew on that last arrow that Joonsuh had already won that set. So it's such an interesting thing to be in the middle of your match and know, well, it really doesn't matter where this arrow impacts. I'm not getting these 2 set points. But I think
Yeah.
it's important that you shoot a really good, strong shot because it's going to teach you, again, how to aim off with the wind and get through, you know, the pressure type situation heading into the next end. So right now, Jack is going to have 4 set points. Joonsuh really, truly needed this set. So if Jack had taken this set, that would have been it. If they had tied, you know, Joonsuh would have had another match. But with him securing 2 set points, it's definitely going to keep this match alive and interesting.
Yeah, and it says something to like your mental game as well with like losing a set while you're up. It kind of messes with that psychology a little bit because when you're on a roll and you get 3 in a row, you're just boom, boom, boom. You're just running on a high almost.
Yeah.
And then to have your opponent gain those 2 set points, it kind of gets in your head just a little bit too. This is what we practice for, right? Like we have all this practice, all these competitions where we gain that experience. That's what we're doing when we go to competitions, and we're trying to build that up to where that doesn't affect you as much, and
Yeah.
you're just going out there and performing your best.
One really cool thing about you guys that live at the training center is I'm sure you get to practice together on a daily basis. So you're often shooting matches, you're practicing these situations. So you don't have to wait to get to a tournament to experience this. I feel like you guys get this on a daily basis, and I think that's something that really means a lot, especially when it comes down to it. Wow,
Yes, it
good,
looks like
strong
Joonsuh
shot.
has found the middle for sure.
Sometimes, you know, when an archer comes out there, it takes just a little bit for them to find their stride, but it looks like he found it.
Another 10 from Jack.
Jack answered. There we go. So, right now, if Jack wins this set, Jack will take the match.
9.
9. So he's obviously fighting for the win, and Joonsuh is obviously just fighting to stay alive for another set.
So both of these archers, one thing to keep in mind, good 9
Good
from
9
Jack.
from Jack.
One thing to keep in mind is, so Jack set a junior world record at nationals this year,
Yes.
and Joonsuh set a cadet world record at JOAD nationals last year.
He got caught in the wind there a little bit with an 8.
So at this point, Jack just needs a 9 to win this match.
Long hold
Caught
there.
in the
You can
gust.
see the wind is really picking up on him.
9-liner.
Yeah, it looks good. I
It
think
looks
he did
in.
it. And you can see there on that arrow that it flew at such a different angle. And you will see that on the target based off how much the arrow drifted and moved with that wind. So you can really
Yep.
see that he obviously had to aim off quite a bit on that arrow, and it drifted over into the 9 ring.
Definitely so. And we do get to practice quite a bit at the training center with each other. My personal philosophy is to try to beat all the guys, because I feel like if I can beat the guys, I can beat the women in the world stage, and that's really what my competition is. So I'm trying to beat the guys as bad as possible, and we do all kinds of drills and things like that. And sometimes we'll just on a personal training day, we'll throw down the gauntlet and be like, yeah, let's shoot some matches and see who comes out on top.
That's awesome. Well, looking at this match out here, I would say your guys' practice at the training center really paid off, because Jack Williams is going to be our 2020 Gator Cup champion.
Yeah. It was a good match. Definitely challenging on wind, and I think that 20 seconds that you talked about comes into play quite a bit for this match, because just like you've been saying, when you get caught in a gust of wind, you got to be able to make a real quick shot and not just sit there and get comfortable.
Yeah, I think both those guys really showed their strengths out there. The difference is Jack just started off strong from the very beginning. Joonsuh found his stride somewhere in the middle, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too late for him to come back and try to take a solid run at Jack. So congratulations to both boys out there. That was impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't in set system when you've got that comeback kind of idea where, you know, Joonsuh did find his stride, but it's kind of a little too late kind of scenario, and it's like, man, you wish you would have been on for that one set earlier or something like that, but it's just the name of the game.